Several minutes of commercial-free football starts now.
Here are the Purple Mortgage Guys.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Purple Mortgage Guys, coming at you on a Friday night lights edition, I guess, guys, after hours on a Friday night to record here. Coming into the Super Wildcard weekend, Minnesota Vikings against the New York Giants. For those that are just finding our channel here for the first time, if you want to hit subscribe, that'd be awesome. Leave comments. We'd love to talk about them on the next episode as well. And just a quick overview. We're three guys that do home loans in the mortgage business, but loves talking Minnesota Vikings football. So we started a show this year and love to recap each game and talk about the upcoming ones. So guys, with that, super exciting weekend coming ahead here. Seahawks and Niners kick it off tomorrow. We'll all be pulling for the Seahawks to take that one, obviously. So the Niners don't get to host us next week, assuming we win the game against the New York Giants. So national narrative is pick the Vikings to get upset and the Giants to win because the Vikings are a fraud and the point differential and all that, and 61-yard field goal that was needed to beat them last time. But guys, I'm actually pretty optimistic about this game, and I don't know if that's good or bad because I was optimistic before the Dallas game and optimistic before the Packers game and excited for those as well. So Tanner, I'll start with you tonight. Give me your overview of the Giants game and just your thoughts going into that one.
Yeah, I got a weird feeling about this one too. I, for some reason, feel more confident than I feel like I guess I've been all season, which is super weird now that we're in the playoffs. But I just feel like this team is going to be – I mean, you could tell even after the last game against the Bears on Sunday, like obviously we didn't have anything to play for. But even after the game, you had a couple players like KJ Osborne and stuff tweeting about like the crowd and saying they can't wait to get home and play in our stadium in a playoff game. So I think it's going to be electric. The only thing that concerns me a little bit with the Giants is this is the healthiest this team has been all year. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at their injury report. They had no designations, I don't think, for Sunday. So they're going to have their entire crew. Obviously the ones that aren't on injured reserve, but I think it sounds like all of their big name guys on defense. Leonard Williams, Dory Jackson's back. Xavier McKinney is off injured reserve. So they're going to have all those guys back. So I think the crowd noise is definitely going to play a big part in this team's success on Sunday. And I just can't wait to get there and play these guys again.
Goose, offensive line, we've got Bradbury back. Blake Brandel's maybe in the mix here coming up. If not this week, maybe next. We're missing Brian O'Neill. So offensive line, maybe a question mark there, but maybe some reasons to be optimistic. And then your defense, Zadarius, it sounds like he's healthy. Not sure on Harrison Smith. He's questionable going into the weekend, but what are your thoughts on the offensive line, the defense, and the game as a whole here coming up?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a test for him. Brian O'Neill is a huge loss, so I don't want to understate that. But I think Oliudo he's got a lot of experience through the past few years, probably more so than most guys that would be in his position here to come in at the end of the season. He's held up decently in the past 2 weeks. I don't know that anyone going into the season thought we were going to be begging for Garrett Bradbury to rush back and play, but I'm certainly happy to see him off of the injury report. I think it's going to be the Giants have a really good defensive line, and I think Kevin O'Connell is going to have a really good game plan going in to have a good balance of run and pass and keep the D-line on their toes. But, after playing them just a few weeks ago, they had an impact, but they definitely didn't wreck the game like has happened to Vikings in the past. So I feel cautiously optimistic that we can, at the very least, get by doing the same. And as long as Kirk isn't running for his life, I think we always have a shot.
Giants blitz. They're the most blitz heavy team in the league. It's 40% roughly of their defensive snaps are sending pressure. So that will be interesting to see. I feel like the tight ends will be a big part of this. Irv Smith, obviously, back. Hawkinson had a huge game last time they played. So we'll see the cat and mouse game with what changes from last time. So
Yeah.
Tanner, we're going to get into the playoff edition of Tanner's Tidbits. For those of you just listening in for the first time, Tanner likes to give us a pile of stats, get our head spinning. You can use them to impress your friends. But Tanner, what do you got for us this week against the Giants?
All right, so a lot of it is pretty similar to the last time we played the Giants, but I do have a lot of like just season statistics for the Vikings. The Vikings are 8-12. Or 18-12, I'm sorry, all time against the Giants, including 9-5 at home. They've won their last 4 games in a row against the Giants. They've never won 5 in a row. So looking for that 5th straight win. Kirk Cousins is 5-5 in his career against the Giants, including 3-2 at home. In those starts, he's averaging 263 yards per game. He's thrown for 13 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, and an 82.1 QB rating. Cousins also has a 1-2 record in his career in the playoffs. Quarterback Daniel Jones for the Giants is 0-2 in his career against the Vikings, including 0-1 in Minnesota. He obviously suffered that loss on Christmas Eve just a few weeks ago. In his starts, he's thrown for 258 yards per game, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a 79.3 QB rating. This will be Daniel Jones's first career playoff game, as it will be for quite a few of Giants on that team. I was looking at, I saw a stat that they don't have a lot of experience, so this is going to be the biggest game of most of these guys' career. Justin Jefferson finished the season as the 3rd highest graded receiver in the NFL. Tyreek Hill and Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Lions are the only ones that graded out higher. We got the battle of the stud left tackles this week. Christian Darrisaw finished the season as the number 2 rated left tackle in the league. Andrew Thomas, the Giants left tackle, finished number 3, just behind Darrisaw. So Trent Williams of the Niners is the only one that had a higher grade. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I think I shared this last time, Evan Neal, the Giants rookie right tackle, finished the season as the 2nd lowest graded. Oh, dog's getting a little excited. Sorry.
Can't wait for Sunday, right?
That's what it sounds like. Finished the season as the 2nd lowest graded tackle in the league. Out of 81 qualifying tackles, Greg Little was the only one that had a lower grade. Obviously, Danielle Hunter took advantage of that last time they played. I think he had 7 tackles, 2 sacks, maybe a forced fumble even. I think it was one of his best games of the year. So hoping we can repeat that success. Dexter Lawrence, the defensive lineman for the Giants, finished the season as the highest graded interior defensive lineman in the NFL. The Vikings finished the season as the 4th highest graded team in the league per Pro Football Focus. The Giants finished 29th. If you actually pull up the list, some of the teams that are at the bottom of that league, like the Bears and the Texans, that's crazy to think that the Giants made the playoffs and have the 29th overall grade. Vikings also finished the season with the 4th highest graded defense, which also doesn't really make sense. Essentially what that means is they're capitalizing on a lot of big plays. And I know we've attested to that quite a bit this year, coming up with big turnovers in crucial situations. The Giants do the opposite. They're 30th graded defense in the league. The Vikings are also the 2nd highest graded run defense in the league. The Giants are 28th. So give up quite a few runs on the ground, a lot of yards. Giants defense also graded out 31st in the league in coverage to finish the season. I think Adoree Jackson did miss quite a bit of time, as well as Xavier McKinney. So that plays a part in that grade too, I think. The Vikings are 21-30 all time in the playoffs, including 14-8 at home. This will be the 4th meeting against the Giants in the postseason and the first game at home that they've ever played against the Giants in the playoffs. They are 1-2.
The last one, you want to mention that?
Nope, I don't.
Okay, we'll move on.
That was actually one of the very first NFL games that I had ever watched, like one of the first 5 or something like that. So in the year 2000, the Vikings went to the Meadowlands and they got spanked 41-0 in the NFC.
There was rumors the Giants were stealing signals or like radio frequency and knew the plays. So I don't know if that's ever confirmed or not, but that was the rumor.
Seems to happen to us a lot, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Vikings are 12-1 this season in 2022 when they force at least one turnover in the game. They are 1-3 when they do not force a turnover. So seems to be the key to victory. Hopefully they can get to Daniel Jones this week, make him force a throw, get a pick, maybe a fumble. See. Since 2016, since US Bank Stadium opened in 2016, the Vikings have the 4th highest winning percentage of any team in the league in their home stadium. We'll do a little bit of trivia. Can you guys name the 3 teams that have higher success?
What was the in their home stadium?
4th highest winning percentage, US Bank Stadium.
Chiefs.
Chiefs are number 1.
Seahawks.
No.
In the last how many years?
Since 2016. Since US Bank Stadium opened.
Buffalo?
Nope.
Oh.
It's 2 teams that have won a lot of games since 2016. So you got to think about successful quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
In New England?
Patriots are 3.
Yeah. So we're missing 2.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay and Lambeau.
Packers.
What time do they play this weekend?
Whoops.
Ouch. Can you name the 2 Vikings this season who have played every single snap as a starter? There's 1 on offense and 1 on defense.
Cam Bynum.
Oh, Goose has probably already seen this stat.
I saw Cam. I don't know the offensive.
Cameron Bynum has played every snap on defense this year.
But I think I know the offensive player now. Brent, I'll give you a shot at it first.
I'm going to say Ezra Cleveland.
It's a good guess, but no.
Ooh, that would have been my guess.
Ed Ingram then.
Ed Ingram. Wow.
He played every play of this, every snap of the season, and he only stepped on the quarterback's foot like 4 times.
Maybe the 2, if I had to pick 2 players who felt like the weak link was on each side of the football, might be Ed Ingram and Cam Bynum, but they're available. It's got to count for something.
Mm-hmm.
Best ability is availability. So
that's right.
Is that the end of Tanner Tidbits?
Oh, no, I got more.
Oh, all right. Let's have it.
For the very first time since 2015, the Vikings did not have a quarterback finish in the top 10 in the league in QB rating this year. Cousins finished 13th, but just to think about all the quarterbacks we've had, obviously Cousins has been here a minute, but Sam Bradford, Case Keenum, all those guys finished top 10.
Wow.
While they were here. So
that gives me a flashback to your mid-season prediction that's yet to be determined, but Kirk will have his worst statistical season while also taking us as far as we've ever been. So I think he was on record with most picks, lowest QBR, which are all pretty much in line. So we make it to that NFC championship game.
I'll take the wins and a crappy statistical performance from Cousins. Greg Joseph, Brent's favorite player, finished the 2022 season ranked 27th in the league in field goal percentage. That's a minimum of 20 attempts. He also led the league with a league high of 6 missed extra points this season. So
how every time he missed an extra point, we won the game. I saw that too.
Oh, really?
How are you guys going to feel Sunday about 6:35, 6:40 when he's lining up for a 41-yarder and we're down 2 with a minute to go? Confident?
Yeah, it's playoff season, so you have to think that the kicker is definitely going to be on the mind.
The good news is we're going to be up by more than that, so it's very hypothetical. But
happy to hear that. Kenai Wongwu, Vikings kick returner, finished the season 5th in return yards per return. Here's a fun one. Since Kirk Cousins arrived in Minnesota in 2018. This is the ranking of those defenses each year. So in 2018, we had a really good defense, fourth, finished the season fourth. 2019, they were 14th. In 2020, the COVID season, we dropped to 27th. 2021, last year, we were 30th. And this season, they finished 31st. Vikings offensive line gave up 47 sacks this season. That's the most of any Vikings offensive line since 2014, when they gave up 51 sacks during Teddy Bridgewater's rookie season. For the first time since 2009, the Vikings finished the season ranked top 10 in passing this year. 2022 was statistically the third best aerial attack in team history. Only the 2004 and 1998 squads produced more yards per game through the air. So, two pretty good offenses. Another fun fact, a number 3 seed, which the Vikings are in the NFC this year, has only won the Super Bowl twice in NFL history. So, not a lot of success for the 3 seeds. The last 6 teams to win the Super Bowl finished the season with a top 10 offense. This season, only one of the top 10 offense didn't make the playoffs. I just wanted to throw it in because the poor Lions.
I was going to say, it's got to be the Lions.
Did not make the playoffs, and they had a high-powered offense this year. So, very last one I'd like to end on. Actually, I have just 2 more. Giants quarterback Daniel Jones is 2-15 in his career in games that kick off afternoon. So instead of all the national media talking about Kirk Cousins not being able to win games that aren't played at noon, I think they should flip that and look at Daniel Jones' success at that. The very last one is actually I look at this stat every single season, and I'm going to until it's fixed. But we don't have a declared league MVP yet. But I know I've told Goose this before. A league MVP, the player that won the MVP that season, his team has never won the Super Bowl since 1999.
Wow.
I think I read there have been 9 or 10 MVPs that won MVP that year and made the Super Bowl, and they've all lost.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
So that's what I got this week.
Those are your Super Wildcard playoff edition, Tanner's Tidbits. Extra large edition. Nice work, Tanner. Guys, favorite time of the show, favorite part, going to do some bold predictions. We're going to predict one thing that's going to happen this weekend. We're going to pick the final score. We're going to cap it off with, if things go wrong, the one name that we are not exactly thrilled with going into a banker's holiday on Monday with Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So, guys, give me Tanner, we'll start with you. Give me one thing that's going to happen this week in the game on Sunday.
One of you guys hinted at it already. The Giants do not defend tight ends well. So I'm going to say TJ Hawkinson and Irv Smith are each going to have a touchdown reception in this game.
You stole that from me word for word. Had it written down. I will pivot. I'm up with another one.
Irv and TJ, okay.
Both. Yep. Because of the same reason. So, Goose, let me think here. You keep us going.
All right. I did think about that. I would have maybe gone a little safe and gone with a combination stat. So I respect the and versus or. I'm going to go offensive and defensive here. I'm going to say in the biggest games this year, Pat Pete talks a big game and he backs it up. I've seen a lot of some good quotes with Ed Donatel giving some of the veterans big time responsibilities as far as the game plan. I guess it's Pat Pete's job this week to keep anyone from feeling anxious or nervous or handle this game I guess any differently. So I'm going to say Pat Pete gets an interception. And on offense, I think Kirk Cousins is hopefully going to finally silence the doubters a little bit. He's going to go for 300 plus yards and 3 touchdowns.
Wow. We will take that. 2 of those are probably just some tight ends, according to Tanner. One of the other touchdowns that's going to be out there is going to be JJ then. He is going to either pass for a touchdown or he's going to have a rushing touchdown on Sunday. That's my plan B, thanks to Tanner's brilliance. So
I've got a sneaky feeling that KJ is going to have a big game too.
that'd be all right.
I think they're going to have a similar game plan as the Packers did to try to take away JJ. They're going to be hyper focused on the tight ends because of Hawkinson's performance last time, and I think KJ is going to be the guy to step up.
Well, what's the final score then, Goose? We'll let you start with that.
Yeah. You know what? We're going to click. We're going to get it going. Gosh, I predicted high so much this year, but it's been a high scoring year for the most part. I'm going to go 34-24 Vikings.
Guys are
10-point
killing me
victory.
tonight.
What did you say? Can you say it one more time?
34-24 Vikings. And it sounds like I may have snatched that from Brent as well.
I'll go. I have mine 33-24, Goose. So we'll take it. I'm going to just throw an extra little nugget in there since you stole my score. Greg Joseph will kick a field goal with less than 2 minutes to put us up 9, and that'll be the final margin. So
I like it. Give us that 2-score breathing room.
we'll be nervous with that 6-point lead, and we'll put a drive together. Tanner, if you predict a loss, we're done.
I'm not doing that this week. This is for my friend Goose. The Vikings defense is going to get up this week. I feel good. I feel good about it. We're going to send some heat. Got healthy Za'Darius. He says he's 100%. You better back it up this week. 100%. Get after the quarterback. Let's send some blitzes. Frustrate Jones. I think US Bank Stadium is going to be electric. And I'm just going to throw out there again, if you haven't heard it already, Nick Gates, offensive lineman for the Giants, said that he thought that US Bank Stadium would be a lot louder a couple of weeks ago. So challenge accepted. And I think we're going to make their life a living hell. And we're going to pull this one out in the first round handedly, 29-16.
Just for the record, I think it was kind of quiet, that whiteout game Christmas
Thanks,
Eve.
Brent. Thanks for killing my thunder.
So I think this time around it's gonna be different. It's gonna be a lot different.
29-16. I love that prediction. I've got a feeling too. I feel what I'm really liking, and especially if they can come out and back it up, is feel like a Mike Zimmer team was a lot more like, we're going to keep doing what we do and we're going to try to do it well. This week, there's been a lot of sound bites of like we're coming out and our veterans are taking over the team, and like it's amping me up the way that KOC's talked about how the defense needs to come out firing, and the captains of the team are really taking the team under their wing this week. And I think it's going to be a solid performance. I just have a really good feeling about it.
So we all think that the Vikings are going to thump the Giants on Sunday. We're talking. We all are. We're all saying touchdown or more. So
Let's go.
all right. Well, let's hear what happens if things don't go well. What's one player, first name, last name of one player or coach, or individual, I guess, for that matter, if you want to blame someone else, that we're going to be talking about on Monday if things don't go well. Goose, I'm going to start with you again.
I can't get past 2 names.
2 names.
Yeah, there's 2 names. I feel like this.
I feel like we, Tanner, we didn't let 2 names go by about a month ago.
I'm not going to name them. I'm not going to name both of them.
Okay.
I gotta.
One last name that's been groomed into me.
I gotta pick between the 2, but I can't think of how we're going to come up with 3 names, because in my opinion, in this spotlight, in this point of the season, the blame has to come down to, I'll leave one. I'll go with the most obvious, which I think would be KOC.
Okay.
if you don't do anything about your defense all season long, I'm not blaming Ed Donatel in the playoffs. You stuck with him. You had him. You have really knowledgeable defensive coaches in your coaching staff like Mike Pettin that you could have gone to. You don't have to fire Ed, but maybe you bring in Pettin to take over play calling or do some different things there. So I think at this point of the season, you know what you have. It can't the blame can't be passed to anyone else. So I think it's KOC's job to get the team ready, to put the game plan together, to manage the game. And maybe there's one other name outside of KOC that I could think of to really put the blame on if we don't come out on top in this game.
Tanner, what's your one name that you've got?
It makes you feel better, Goose. I actually did have like two names in my head as well, but I'll just go with my top one. And mine actually is Ed Donatel. And the reason specifically for it is I do think it is his job for the most part. Like KOC obviously did have his reasons throughout the year to cut bait and cut ties with him almost whenever he wanted to. But I just feel like that's such a tough thing to do when you win 13 games. Like Vikings fire the defensive coordinator and switch things up after everything that they've been doing has been working. So getting into it though, I watched a slight breakdown of some videos on Twitter. It was a 2-minute video, and it was basically just some clips of a guy explaining how this Giants offense lacks like dynamicness. I don't know if that's a word. Is that a word?
Sounds good.
Explosiveness. Outside of Saquon Barkley, like if you can shut down the run, they don't really have any like really big playmakers at receiver or tight end. And what they do with their receivers is just a lot of short 5-out routes, 5-in routes, curls. And that's something that the Vikings have struggled to cover almost all year because they play such soft coverage. So I feel like as a coach, that's very obvious to you that is what killed you the first time. I mean, you had two receivers that are no names and they each caught 9 balls. Don't let it happen again. And I don't think that this is a Giants offense that should score 20 points in our building. So if it does happen and we lose, bye, Ed.
What drives me nuts, real quick on that before I forget, what drives me nuts though is we've been struggling with the little dink and dunk stuff and being so far off the line, but I know I didn't play in the NFL or anywhere close to it, but I feel like you normally get burned on those routes when you're uptight press and they create a foot of separation and the quarterback zips the ball in there. If you have 5 to 10 yards off the line of scrimmage and you can watch the quarterback and when they're throwing it, you should be able to jump on that 5-yard route. Like that's where all year I've been torn. Scheme, players, because when the right players get in there, we're a little bit more successful.
This is where I'm going to start complaining about our linebackers again if we want to get into an actual discussion about it. But Kendricks and Hicks are not what they were when it comes to pursuing players.
My player that I'm going to throw out there was going to be Eric Kendricks, because I think if he looks slow and if Daniel Jones is running all over the field, it's going to be a lot different game than if we can keep him contained in the pocket and a pocket passer, I guess. So that was the name I had in the back of my head.
About that too, Brent.
So guys, my second name didn't get picked, and that's Kirk Cousins.
I was going to go Kirk because there's a lot of pressure, because that narrative is so easy to stick on him. And like Tanner's tidbit there, Daniel Jones in non-1 o'clock or noon games, his record's not great either. But for some reason, that was the label given to him, and it just doesn't go away. So I hope for his sake, whether it is really his fault or O'Connell's or somebody else, I just hope for his sake he has a big game Sunday.
If he lays an egg, I don't know how he overcomes this one.
It's going to be a rough show for us on Monday if he does.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to close us out here on this one with we got one of the viewers that's been pretty loyal to comment quite a bit. Don't know the first name, but Jay Geiza. I think this is pretty good Vikings fan sentiment from year to year here, but been a fan of the Vikings since I was in middle school. Experienced some very nice highs and far too many lows. Have no expectations other than the reality that the only one team will be happy at season's end. I hope we win a Super Bowl before I die, but I am thinking it may not happen until I'm a ghost. I don't mind. I still will take the victory. Skol Vikings. So Guys, I don't know if our expectations tend to build a little bit before each game because the season could be over come Sunday night, but I think all three of us are pretty optimistic and expect a victory and not really a nail biter victory even at that. So we'll see what happens. For the first time all year, really, I guess ever, three of us are going to go to the game in person. So that'll be fun. We'll try to report back as soon as we can, but Tanner, any closing thoughts? Got about a minute left here.
No, I just want to see the defense get after it this week. Like I said, I just think it's going to be an electric crowd. You're going to have the crowd noise on your side. Use that to your advantage. That's why they play for home games this time of year. So I don't want the offense to lay a dud either. I know we've talked a lot about throughout the season. They come firing out in the first quarter, and then in the second and third quarter, they fall flat. And I don't think you can't afford to do that in the playoffs if you're going to continue moving on to the next round. So don't let me down. KOC and Ed, let's go.
Goose, you concur?
I concur.
All right. Well, Skull Vikes, go Hawks. We'll talk to you guys again soon.